Hello, fellow gamers, and welcome to the Video Gamers Podcast. Some games and studios are so iconic, we remember our first game that they ever made or that we played by them. We remember the times with friends we had playing together in the excitement of a new major release. We've had the joy of talking with several indie devs and studios, but what about the big boys of the industry? What's it like working at a AAA studio and making some of the most iconic games of the last 30 years? Well, today we have the immense honor to do just that. But first, some introductions are in order. I am your host, Josh, and joining me, he's got more hours in Destiny than any other game he's played, so he may be geeking out just a tiny bit. It's Ryan.
Why do you have to remind me every time? Like, this is an amazing thing. It's a horrible thing. It's just like a lot of my life is gone to this beautiful, beautiful game.
It's an amazing thing, Ryan. And also, I'm pretty sure you don't even come close to my time in EverQuest.
That's probably true.
And joining us, they work for a little game studio you may have heard about. Just the company that, made two of the most successful franchises to ever exist from Bungie Studios and the Bungie Foundation. It's Jarrod and Christine.
Hello, hey, everybody.
World.
Happy to be here.
How are you guys doing today?
So good.
It's
what a way to start our Monday, yeah.
It's Monday, it's
oh,
good.
Man, we're excited. So, number one, thank you both so much for giving your valuable time and hopping on this podcast with a couple doofuses like Ryan and I. We are really, really excited to have you guys here with us. And, man, this is going to be a fun episode, man. So, I really kind of want to just start off by, introducing you guys a little bit or letting you kind of introduce yourselves a little bit. So, Christine, you are the director of the Bungie Foundation, and you've been with Bungie for quite a while now. Is that right?
Pretty much my entire adult life. Yeah.
Ooh.
Basically right out of college. Yeah. Started in 2008, April 2008. So I think next month is going to be 17 years. I don't, math's not my thing, but I think 17 years. Yeah. I turned 40 this year, so
off guard there.
22 to 40 is a long time.
That is amazing. I mean, how many people can get a job at Bungie right out of college?
Right.
And then, you knew you were onto a good thing if you've been doing it this long, though, too, at the same time.
It's been a great ride. A really, really fun ride, for sure.
That is awesome.
This place is pretty good. I think I'm going to stick around.
All right, I'll stay. I'll stay. Yeah, totally.
And then, Jarrod, you worked with Christine at the Bungie Foundation for a little while, and then you are currently a senior producer for Bungie Studios. Is that correct?
That is correct. I began my journey with Bungie about 3.5 years ago with the Bungie Foundation with the boss over here. And just back in November, I had an opportunity to move over to the development side, and much to Christine's chagrin, and my own, to be honest, I made the leap over to the development side, and now I'm working on Marathon.
That is awesome.
I still keep on reeling him in. Here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I actually haven't really stopped working at the Bungie Foundation yet. I probably will never. Christine will just keep sliding me stuff under the table and under the door. Just do this a little bit.
That's what you get to go on both sides now, though. You get to still do the foundation stuff, but then you get to work with video games. How awesome is that?
Exactly.
She has not removed your photo from the Bungie Foundation website yet, so
Yes.
you're still
No,
on,
it
you're
stays.
still on
It
good
stays
enough
permanently.
terms.
Yeah.
I'll just change the title to consultant.
Yeah.
Advisory committee, just one of one.
There you go.
Love it. We'll figure that out.
But she's slowly fading the photo out a little bit every day.
Little 10%
It's
every
like
time.
you and your replacement, just like a
Just slowly
fade
meshing
over.
together.
Yes.
That works.
Oh man, that's great. So
We'll get an engineer on it. He'll figure it out.
yeah, there you go. And so, Jarrod, you have been a fan of games for a long time.
Yes.
But Christine, you are not much of a gamer. Is that true?
Yeah, it wasn't really my thing. Games make me super anxious. I'm sure there's games out there for me, but I'm just, it's like my perfectionist mentality. Games just, they're hard. But the Bungie Foundation, being a Bungie, has taught me a lot about games and the importance of them. So
I've tried to get her in. I've tried to.
You don't want to see me play Destiny. You don't want to see it. It's not good.
That's my wife. My wife likes a very specific type of game. She, like Mario games, for instance, right? She loves those until until she gets to the fire level, and then she just quits.
Done.
Like instantly,
I'm
she's
done.
like, "This is too stressful. I don't
Yep.
want this in my life," and then
Yep.
she's just out at that
Yeah,
point. So
totally.
well, hey, we don't judge around these parts, so you're in good company
Good to
here as well. So we do have a question for you, though, Christine.
Yeah.
Since you do work, for the Bungie Foundation and you are familiar with Bungie games, and we figured this would be a good question for you. So you have to get dropped into either the world of Halo or the world of Destiny. Which one are you picking and why?
That's a good question. I mean, I have like a really like soft heart, I think, for Halo, just because like it was really my introduction into games. I started in 2008. We were like co-developing ODST and Reach at the same time. When I started, I was working in marketing. So like I know the marketing side of things, even if I don't play. And it was just like my first introduction into like games and the gaming community and how like excited and passionate people are about games, and it like taught me so much about what it takes to actually make a game and how complicated it is and how many different people you have and how many different teams are working on it and just the teamwork and camaraderie around all of it. So I think I have a soft place in my heart for good old Halo.
I think I could take a grunt too, to be honest.
You think so? Just punch him right in the face.
Maybe nothing else, but I think I could take a grunt.
I got that.
So Jarrod, you've been with Bungie for a bit now. As a gamer, I was actually watching some of your stuff. I think you are a long-standing gamer.
Oh no, are you watching some of my Bungie bounty fails? Just getting my ass
a little
kicked by the
bit.
community on repeat?
What is it? These games. What is it that takes you? What's a game that is that next level for you? What makes you kind of feel? As a gamer, what's the best that's out there?
I mean, right now or like all time?
Right now.
Ooh. Oh, this is hard. I'm gonna give you two answers.
Ooh, all right, I like it.
So I've played a lot of great like single player games over the past couple of years. I think I've finally finished Ragnarok after a long hiatus. I'm trying to make my way through all of Ghost of Tsushima. I've just been delaying it. Like they're kind of old at this point, but like I finally need to complete them.
Yes.
I think the game I keep coming back, I'm a very competitive guy. I love shooters. I love winning. I love killing people in the game and standing over their dead bodies.
To clarify.
So the game that I kind of go to, because I work a lot, so like when I play my games now, it's quick fixes. It's like I want to be in and out, get that dopamine hit, and then move on with my day. So I play a lot of Apex Legends. I've been playing since the beginning. That is my dopamine hit. I drop in for a couple rounds. I hopefully come out with a dub, or at least a couple top fives. And so I play way too much of that. Way too much. I will say a newer game that I've been begrudgingly hooked into, which I hate mobile games. Like this is not for me. I hate the form factor. I like big screen.
I'm the same way.
And if they're on my phone, I'm going to play them too much.
Yep.
We had an internal thing called Pentathlon, a competition back, when was that, December at this point?
Yeah, December. Mm-hmm.
And we were playing Balatro.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell is Balatro?
No.
And I watched all these people try to tell me about it. They're like, oh, it's like poker, but like it's a
highly addictive.
And I'm like, all right, whatever. Let me download it on my phone. $10, cool. Worst best decision I ever made. I'm now like so addicted to this thing. Like I'll play it in bed before I sleep, and my wife's like, "Are you still playing your stupid game?" I'm like, "I'm not deleting it until I 100% it."
Oh God,
it's gonna take a while. So yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a great game. The design is phenomenal. It's so simple, but I'm addicted.
We just did an indie episode with like top 5 indie games and stuff, and Balatro was on my list for just one of those that people just can't stop themselves. They can't help themselves, man. It's one of those that grabs a hold of you and holds on tight.
Yep.
Them putting that on mobile, we joke that productivity everywhere is just done. Like the fact that they put that on mobile devices, it's like, they're
It was the best. It was a genius marketing decision by far.
Yeah. I love
absolutely.
that phrase, by the way. The best worst decision. Like that's a good one.
Yeah. That's like playing Rust.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So Jarrod, we put Christine on the spot. We got to put you on the spot here too, just to keep things fair. So, favorite weapon in Halo?
I mean, I go back to my days of Halo 3. Those are my heydays of Halo.
Yeah, he's talking our language now.
It's the race to get the sword, man. Like, whoever gets that sword, you're just king. But if we're not talking about the sword, which I think everyone loves, sticky grenades.
That's a good answer.
I mean, it's nothing's more satisfying than throwing a grenade, sticking someone, you dead.
Just waiting. Yeah. Or getting stuck and then waiting is the opposite. That's the worst too.
Yeah, when you know and then you're just running away like, well, this is the end, you know?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, so we gotta put you guys on the spot a little bit there too.
Love it.
All right. So Bungie is, I mean, it is such a huge name when it comes to gaming. I mean, I don't think that there's a gamer alive who hasn't heard of Halo or Destiny. And, we're all old enough to remember the launch of the Xbox and the impact that Halo had on the gaming world as a whole. The heyday of Destiny, the massive success of Destiny 2 is honestly legendary. And so we'd love to chat a little bit about some of the culture and then kind of the magic of Bungie over the years, if that works for you guys. Yeah. So, Christine, you mentioned that you got a job working for Bungie right out of college. Like, how does one get to work at one of the most iconic game studios in existence?
It's a really good question, especially for somebody who doesn't play games and doesn't make games.
Exactly.
Like, what am I even doing here? So my personal story, and it's like unique to me. Everyone has their own journey, but so out of college, I was like a Latin American studies major. I planned on going into global health. Like I knew I wanted to be a nonprofit. So after college, I moved to Guatemala and I was volunteering with the medical clinic.
That's awesome.
Spent every last dollar that I had, and moved home and just like immediately, I just like needed a job. And I had already registered for my like master's program that was supposed to start in 6 months. And I was just like, what can I do for 6 months to get me like any penny to my name? And at the time, Bungie was hiring for a 6-month contract admin position. And I'm like, I know nothing about video games, but it's the exact time frame that I need, and I can do admin work, I'm sure. So I applied for it. I went into the interview. And no joke, for a 6-month contract admin role, it was an 8-hour interview. I interviewed with a representative of every single department at Bungie. And it was like the best interview ever. Like everyone was just like so kind. They were super excited to hear about my story. At the time we had recently separated from Microsoft. And so Bungie as a whole was like really interested in figuring out, hey, like how do we leverage this amazing community, this like amazing game that we have, and how do we like leverage it for the power of good? And here I was, this like 22-year-old, person who was kind of volunteering for a living at that point, and they're like, maybe you can help us figure this out. Like maybe you have some ideas on like how we can, harness this thing and, do some good in the world. So, so I started with a 6-month contract. And we pretty quickly like started diving into the world of like, how do we start a nonprofit? Like, what does that look like? What would we do if we were to start a nonprofit? Like, how can we actually like, build this? And 6 months turned into 17 years, and
just like that.
Just like that. Yeah.
Oh, I may be in my mid 40s, so I understand how fast like time can go by all of a sudden.
Yeah. It does. Yeah.
I'd love too. I was just like, admin job. I'll just hop into one of the best game studios of all time.
I know. I told my friends that I was interviewing. They're like, I'm just like this company called Bungie. Like, I'm going to go in for an interview, and all my friends like slack-jawed, like.
There's like this
Are you kidding me
soldier,
right now?
He's like named Halo or something. I don't know what's
going
on. Like,
some master chef
guy. He's really tall. I don't know. He seems cool.
He's got a cool voice, that's
Oh, that's amazing. So Jarrod, what about you? Now did you start with the Bungie Foundation? Is that actually how you started?
Yes, that was my first role at Bungie. I unlike Christine, had wanted to work in games forever.
Yep.
It's very intentional. Mine was
tried
accidental.
very, very hard to break in. I'm from New York. I studied finance in college, and I thought I was going to work a traditional finance, career. And I was working at a bank on Wall Street for many years. And then my wife packed up and said, sorry, she didn't pack up.
They're still together.
We're still together.
They packed up.
She got a job at Amazon.
This was supposed to be really depressing.
Sorry, she took a job at Amazon, and we packed up our 1-bedroom apartment in Manhattan and came out to Seattle right before the pandemic hit. And so that was fall of 2019, and I was like, well, if I'm quitting my job because remote work didn't exist in 2019, I'm coming to Seattle. I'm going to try to break into the gaming industry, what I've always wanted to do, because in New York it just doesn't happen. Right. It's really hard unless you're already in it. There's really just Rockstar out there. So I tried to, I interviewed for like 2 years across every known studio, or really just applied, not much interview going on, because who's going to hire some guy from finance background that's not applying for a finance role that wants to make video games. But this role with the Bungie Foundation came across my my computer screen one day, and they were looking for someone who had, video game desires and interest, and then some nonprofit experience. And I had done some nonprofit stuff through my work back in New York, and I was like, okay, yeah, this sounds great. Why not? And I wasn't really sure what the role was going to be like, and I ended up getting the job, and I fell in love with it. We've grown the Bungie Foundation so much over the past 3+ years. The role I ended up working was definitely not what I was hired to do by any means.
It's changed.
It's changed a bit.
But for the better, I think. Yeah.
For the good.
Yeah.
And honestly, I had no intention of really leaving anytime soon, and then the job internally popped up, and I was like, let me throw my hat in the ring and see what happens. And here we are.
Heck yeah.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
That was honestly my thought behind it all.
That's awesome. Also, zero bitterness detected for Christine getting this job and just kind of falling into it. And then
I feel like there's like millions of people out in the world that just like hate me right now. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Oh, that's
stumbled
awesome.
right into Bungie. No big deal at all.
Right.
It's fine.
I used to live right down the street from the studio, and then I moved a couple miles away, and I would just like stare at their building, like, just one day, just let me in. Yeah.
And look where you are now, though.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
You did it.
Yeah, you did it.
Sure.
That's awesome. So, like, you talk about, like, Christine's been here forever. You're newer to this kind of side of it, but, they let you in as a finance guy. So there's going to be a culture there. And a lot of times as gamers, we hear about the cultures in a dev studio and what it takes to create just these awesome games that people make. What is the culture like at Bungie for you guys?
Well, I think just take a step back and then kind of moving into the culture side. So I think part of the reason why both Jarrod and I probably got jobs here, even though we got jobs in something that we weren't necessarily like directly experienced in, is because we're, I think, both like really strong team players, really adaptable, really willing to jump in to like whatever is necessary to make sure that our teams are successful, the company is successful, the projects that we work on are successful. And so, like, obviously there are specific jobs. Like, if you're not an artist, you're probably not going to get an art job, right? But, like, for the most part, there are so many different types of roles within a gaming company. And some of them are development related, or, like, an engineer, an artist, a designer, whatever else. But there's a ton of other operational roles, finance, HR, like, marketing, all sorts of stuff. So, like, the pathways into a company like Bungie doesn't have to be, I think, as linear as people think that it needs to be. I think, like, the more important thing is, like, if you're passionate about something, like, pursue that passion, like, pursue it, in your free time, on your own time, like, study it, like, whatever else. But, like, don't think that you have to be, like, one specific thing to, I think, get a job at Bungie or anywhere else. Because I think once you're in, like, I mean, there's been so much mobility. Like, my job, I think, is a really good example. Like, I started as a 6-month contract administrative, role. Started the foundation, early on. We officially formed in 2010, but even in 2010, it was like a tenth of my job. Moved into like a marketing role, was in marketing for a long time until the foundation was big enough to kind of, become like a full-time thing. And now we're a team of 5 and still growing. And so I think that's like adaptability, like saying like yes to things, like what does the company need? Like how can I show up and be of service? Gets you so far, and gets like, that's where like the growth opportunities I think happen. And so when I think about the culture at Bungie, like that, those are the types of things that I think of that we're really, really good at, is showing up for each other, being adaptable, putting in the work that we need to get done, caring for our, fellow colleagues, and not just kind of like, to a certain extent, like not necessarily like staying in our own lane. Like sometimes like, you have a job and you have to get it done, but like being willing to say like, what does this project need? What does my team need of me? How can I show up and support? So it's just created, I think, like a really inclusive, really supportive environment because we all show up to do our best work.
I love that because Jarrod is an example of, literally right in front of us, of saying like, hey, I had a finance background. You jumped in with the Bungie Foundation, which we are absolutely going to talk more about here in just a little bit. But, I think a lot of times as gamers, we tend to think of like, I think it's easier to relate to like a small studio, where it's like, hey, there's 8 guys that are working on this. So all 8 of those people have to be very, very talented at what they do. And it also helps if you understand the business side of things as well, But for some of the larger studios, there are a much wider range of talents that are needed in that regard. So just because you don't know how to code or you're not an artist doesn't mean that there's not a spot for you if you are talented and you are passionate. And Jarrod, just to kind of point to you again, taking that chance and saying, okay, I'm gonna go work for the Bungie Foundation and get my foot in the door and start to meet these people and work hard and all that can absolutely lead you to something else that, you never know where your path's gonna go. You just got to take that first step, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. There's when you said passion, like that's one of the biggest things that you kind of see across that, the people at Bungie, right? Like there is a Bungie type here, and everybody here, even the non-gamers, are very passionate about the work that we do as a studio as a whole. And to your point about there's a lot of different roles. Like we wouldn't exist without a lot of those other roles. Like the dev teams wouldn't function without those roles on the G&A side, or like the employee services team. Like just roles that keep the studio moving, the heartbeat of the studio pushing forward and giving us the tools and the resources and answering the questions that we have that we can't think about it or don't know about. So like, and a lot of them may not be gamers, Christine, but there's a passion and like just a belief in the company that exists through everyone that's here that really comes out, stepping up to the plate, helping people out. Like, when we do our Bungie bounty streams, like I'll get messages all the time from folks, in finance, who are like, hey, I want to be on the next Bungie bounty. And I'm like, oh, you play? It's like, yeah, I'm like really, really good at Crucible. I'm like, well, okay then. Like, and it's awesome to see that. Like, it's really cool to see when that passion comes out. And there's so many different functions that exist at the studio that often get overlooked for like the glamour, if you will. Not that there is any glamour of being an engineer, an artist, or a designer. Like it's hard work. Like it's not red carpet type Hollywood stuff. It is hard work.
Yeah, we have like a saying here that like every Bungie employee is a game dev. Like whether you directly work on the game or indirectly work on the game or indirectly support the studio, like we are all here for like a common purpose. And without any of those specific roles, something else fails. Like we need all pillars of the chair, to keep the chair upright.
Right.
So,
like Nick, who was here earlier,
our IT guy,
setting all our stuff up. Like his team, like literally provides all of the equipment and infrastructure to allow developers to develop. Right. Yeah. Without them, we are sitting there with pencils and paper drawing. Like that's all we would have. Right.
Enable people to do what they do best. That really is. That's awesome.
There's so many stories at Bungie where people have started in one job and risen through that, or going off to other teams. Like, look at, everyone knows DMG Dylan, right? He started off as a Destiny player support, right? Like answering emails and customer service, and now he's global community head for Destiny franchise, right? Like, I don't want to point to myself here, but like, there's other people who have started in roles, and just, there's one of my members of my dev team. He was a tester and busted his ass to figure out how to become a designer. He failed 3 times in an internal interview to become a designer, and he finally got it, and now he's one of our top designers on our team. So like, we provide the ability for that mobility.
There's something to be said about that too. To like, you keep saying it with the passion and like, people that will put in the work and the effort to do these things. Like, it's not just, oh, you failed this time, kick him to the road. Like, you can see the opportunity within them and what they can achieve, and you let that kind of develop. And that's just such a cool, we go back to like the community and the what a studio is, and it's cool to see such a big place still kind of feel that small, to where people feel like they can make a difference. And so that's awesome to see.
Yeah, I would say there's probably no leader here or no manager here that like doesn't take it very seriously, that the people on their team, they're not going to be there forever. We want to see people grow. We want to see people learn. We want to see people continue to pursue their passions. We want to foster them to be able to do follow whatever growth path they want. And so, yeah, we have a lot of people who are in test to design. We have people who are narratives to something else. Like, we have people who sort of move within the company pretty freely, because we're always looking to continue fostering that growth. So you're never stuck. Like, again, I was an admin to the director of the foundation. He, was my producer and I was on the dev team. Like, this, it's like a daily story here at Bungie of people continuing to learn and grow and evolve and move on. Yeah.
People are the greatest resource a company can have, legitimately. Yep. And when you see a company value that and treat them well, that goes a very long way to keeping incredible talent, and success for the company as well. So, okay. So, we're gamers. We're a gaming podcast. We can't not talk a little bit about Halo and Destiny. So Jarrod, this little part might be a little bit more geared towards you. But Christine, if you have any comments
I have any
all,
company anecdotes I can.
Yeah, we would. Legit. Please feel free to jump in here if if you have something to say on this. But Jarrod, as a gamer, do you have a favorite moment or moments from Halo or Destiny/Destiny 2 that stand out to you?
I'll give you one from each. So as I mentioned, Halo 3 to me was my Halo. Yep. I was in college when it came out, when it was hitting its peak. So like, I don't know why this moment sticks in my head. But I remember specifically, it was when Mountain Dew Code Red, they had Halo cans. Okay.
Oh yes, I remember this.
I had to be like a freshman or sophomore in college, and one of my upperclassmen in the fraternity I was in, they had an apartment, and we were over their apartment. And it was like an all-night Halo party.
Yes,
and like, that's awesome. Literally, it was like 2 TVs, and just we were playing Halo all night long. And I must have had 7 or 8 cans of Code Red. I was ignoring like the keg of beer. I was just like, I just want Code Red, and I just want to play Halo all night. And like, I don't know why that memory sticks out so much, but like, that was my Halo experience: just multiplayer online, CodeRed. So no specific memory in Halo, just those times.
I love
like
that.
It was the ultimate multiplayer experience back in the day.
Yeah.
It defined it, really.
100%.
The LAN parties and the Halo with buddies, was absolutely incredible. And you said you had one for Destiny as well?
Yeah. So, I've been playing Destiny since the launch, the beta, to be honest. And I would kind of play content solo often, and I'll rely on matchmaking. I'll go into my Apex Legends matches solo and just scream at my teammates. But so back in the day, Destiny 1 raids, you had to have a full stack of 6 people in your fire team. And like, for me, I had like my cousin and one of my other buddies who I got into it, but like, we never had the full group. And until one day we finally talked, and we got a group, and we did Vault of Glass OG together. And like just going through a raid the first time, it was my first raid ever. I was a single player game guy, Sony guy, and then like shooters. Like this concept of a raid to me was like, what is this? And like just going through that raid the first time like blew my mind. It was so freaking hard. Yeah. And like the mechanic, so mechanically heavy, and I had never experienced this before. But when I finished it and beat it, it had to take, I don't know how many hours it took us. We had guys who had cleared it already, kind of chirping us through it. Yeah. Just like that experience, that late night experience, that first time, it was awesome. Like nothing can replace that. Yeah. That first time going through a raid with your buddies back in the day.
Especially Vault of Glass. So I'm an OG Destiny guy too. I have like 1,700 hours in Destiny 1. I was lucky enough to where I had a big enough crew. We had enough for a raid, and every Tuesday we'd run all 3 characters. I'd run my Hunter, Warlock, and Titan. Every Tuesday we'd run all 3, and we'd run through the raid. But there was just nothing like that. The mechanics and the way that raid kind of went together, like with Atheon and all that stuff, like in the Vault of Glass, it was just something that was so different in hunting for the Gallahorn. I ran, everyone had the Gallahorn, and look at it, you could see his head like, man, because everyone else got the Gallahorn but me for like 40 raids. I didn't get it, and I'm just like, come on, man. So
the first time you shoot the Gallahorn, when you never experienced it before, it was like the best feeling in the world. Yeah. The wolf pack,
the wolf packs, immediately the wolf packs.
It blew it up, and then there's like,
and then there's all these other missiles, and it's just like, oh, okay, that's what the hype's about. So that just shows with the development, like what it takes to draw people in, to make people keep playing the game. It's just. Man, that I have so many fond memories of Destiny 1, just doing those raids in Vault of Glass. Like that's
so good.
That's the second you started talking about that,
Yeah, you can't replace it. Well, but I got a question though for you.
Yes. Ooh.
Since you said you ran all 3 characters every week, but what main are you?
Oh, I was a Titan main.
Ah, you're okay.
Yeah, I was a Titan. Okay. I love the Smash, man. I love to run in the Crucible, and they're capping the flag, and I come in and slam and just wipe everyone. Yeah, I'm that guy. Yeah, no, I'm playing Marvel Rivals right now, and I'll main Moon Knight, and then I'll just drop the Ankh, and then I'll just ult on everyone on the base. But yeah, I'm more of a just kind of like. Just smash everyone, kind of Hulk smash. But
punch layers, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I liked Warlock, but I could never get the good vibe. I would play him, but I was never a big Hunter guy.
See, I'm a Hunter. I'm always a Hunter, fast, stealthy, agile. That's my character.
Give me a rogue any day of the week. I got a couple sneak up on.
Yeah, people. I got a couple buddies that were the Hunter mains, and they just vibed well with them. To me, I was either the Warlock with the power punches and stuff, or the Titan with an AR, and then just smash,
Yeah, smash.
That's amazing.
I've been on the receiving end of that way too many times.
That's why he's mad at you already, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, you're that guy.
Don't worry, we'll get in. We'll go to the Lighthouse, buddy.
Sounds good.
For me, the answer is Halo 3, the Warthog run at the end of Halo 3 is honestly, it's one of those legendary gaming moments that just sticks with me forever. I still remember being at a buddy's house, going through that, and all of us just being like, what is happening? Like, this is the greatest moment ever. And then failing a bunch because I drove off the side until we got there. So
absolutely.
So Jarrod, has moving into a producer role changed the way that you look at gaming at all? Like, now that you're kind of taking part in the development of games and you kind of see behind the curtain a little bit, does that change the way you look at games or how you game?
I definitely see it with a different eye, and I think it even started before I moved into a producer role, or even I really started at Bungie, because I had tried to prep and break into gaming, so I was taking game design courses and just trying to learn about how to make games. So I started seeing things with a different eye. But now that I'm fully on the development side, I look at something in content and be like, okay, I see like the trade-offs they probably made here, or okay, that like experience is a little bit different than this. There's definitely a cost like that they had to take into account here. Just understanding like where we are in our development and how we make things, understanding how the games I do play that are out in the public, how the type of like processes they may have had to have gone through, challenging conversations they had to go through to put those things in the game. I think I look at mechanics a little bit differently now and try to just analyze it a little bit different.
What goes into it. So I think that being able to see it, you can kind of go, whoa, that took a lot of work.
We just talked with an animator, and he was telling us how it takes, 3 months to do 10 seconds of animation. And who knows what it is with doing the video game stuff behind, because there's a lot of motion controls involved as well. So I'm sure there's just so much that is the behind the scenes work, that people don't see.
It's kind of, you can definitely see where they tried to be repeatable. They tried to hide something, right? Because you can't make everything you want in a game. It would take way too long. You never make the game, right?
10 years later, you never launch.
You have to learn how to cut things and kind of hide things a little bit to make it the same experience come through to the player. So you pick up on those little tiny things that they don't make or break any type of player experience, but you're like, okay, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Yeah.
You're like, I see it.
It's just a little bit of a different eye that you look at things with.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do feel myself, because I play Apex way too much, I feel like I am a bit overly critical. Sometimes, when I'm shouting into
You're
the void at the TV.
Trust me, we get it.
So why did they make this choice? A lot of it's just because it's really just the people I'm playing against doing things that it has nothing to do with the mechanic. It's just me sucking that day. And I'm like, well, I hate this game now because I'm terrible. Versus no, it's a me problem. It's not a you problem.
Yeah.
Now, because you are such an involved gamer, you've been playing for so long. Does having that kind of outlook on these games help you with kind of the development side? Like you're in the know, you know what people want, you know what you want. Is that kind of advantageous for you?
There's kind of both sides of the coin there. You can look at titles that you play and you like, or maybe you don't like, and saying, hey, they do something like this way. Should we use a similar approach, or should we do something different compared to that approach? But at the same time, you want to make sure you're not just copying mechanics and experiences from other games. You want to make something unique yourself. So you do draw some inspiration of things to do and not to do. But at the same time, you want to try to think outside the box and do something that you haven't done before. But again, for me as a producer, I'm not there to make decisions, creative decisions like that. It's more of me and kind of just the larger development team in general. When we give feedback on play testing and stuff like that, feedback is feedback and that's it, right? You shouldn't take it as do it. It needs to be like this, because that's often not the case. It shouldn't be like that for reasons that we've defined in terms of what the game actually is that we're making.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting kind of thought process there, because gamers are super opinionated. I mean,
no, they're not.
I know it's hard to believe, but
they're the nicest, most congenial people in the world. We're so friendly. We love each other.
We do.
Rainbows and hugs, and
especially in those competitive games like Apex.
You shake your hand. Good job,
right?
bro.
Everyone tried real hard. You all did good job.
Great job. I don't play these games. No way.
Great job. Now go delete the game.
Yeah.
Uninstall. Josh has never said that before, ever. He's never told anyone to uninstall.
I never said that to myself this morning.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, how do you balance that? I mean, how do you balance the fact that everybody has an opinion on the way that something should be? And, you guys are currently, we're not going to talk about it because I know you can't, but you guys are currently in, developing Marathon, which we are super excited about. We can't wait to hear more about. But you mentioned, I'm sure there's internal play testing and you guys have to try things out and say, okay, yeah, this is working, this isn't working. But how do you balance the opinion of a gamer? Because we all have them and we all think that people should do this, this, and that. How do you balance that towards what the vision of the game is? Because before you know it, you start listening to too much feedback. You've lost your vision now.
Yeah. And that's the point right there. You listen to what the vision of the game is at the end of the day. You come back to very core principles and core pillars of what the game is that you're building, and you take it from there. obviously a game, especially in the live service, is going to evolve over time because it's a live game, as it should. But you always have to come back and be centered on, hey, what is this game that we're building? Why are we building it? Like, you always kind of have to answer that why question. Is like, why are we making this change? For what reason? Is it because all these people said so, or is there actually something mechanically in the game that should be changed? Something like along those lines. So
I think our leadership team does like a really good job at balancing like everything that Jarrod said, like while also really taking like great, critical feedback, like ingesting critical feedback, like whether it's anecdotal or not. But we also have like a wonderful analytics team that is not just like looking at like what are, all the words that are being spewed at us on the internet, but like what does like the data actually tell us? Like how big of a problem is this actually? Like, is this, the 1% of the population that just wants to rage on the internet? Or is it actually like something's broken, we actually need to fix it? So like taking that balance of like, what's our vision? What's the time constraints that we actually have? And that's where we have amazing producers come in to like help us really navigate that piece. And then how do we prioritize? Like, what are the pieces that we can actually move the needle on? What are like the biggest, pieces of improvements that we can implement that doesn't divert from the goals and the vision of the game to move the needle forward? But so it's not just, I just want to make sure that we're, not saying that feedback is not taken. Like we take a ton of feedback, both anecdotal, but also like really data-driven feedback to really make those key decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, loud voices seem to always prevail, right? That's the internet these days, that's social media. And, when you have content creators who are very popular and they're amazing partners that we have with them, like one thing they say can skew their entire audience one way, good or bad for these things. And so like, it may seem like an issue could be bigger than it is. But at the end of the day, we looked upon our community team a lot. Mm-hmm. So the shout out to the community team. They're able to see that internal data and all the metrics that we have, while also kind of collecting all of this feedback from the community and lining it up and seeing where things aren't matching. And they have such a hard job. Yeah. They're often in a very thankless position because people just scream and yell. Like they never really get the, hey, that was really good. Mm-hmm. Like that was an awesome thing that you built. Yeah. And that's hard, but they're so important in the process, especially in a live support model like this, where they're constantly listening to the community, and they can only do so much, right? Because feedback is always going to lag behind development because that's just life, right? Like you release something that was actually made 6 months ago, right? Or something along those lines. Right. So like the feedback you're giving now takes a while to put into development and to iterate upon it. So like that's a huge challenge that, sometimes the community, I don't think necessarily understands that well.
Gamers are an impatient bunch.
Oh,
and we want things now, right? And we don't understand that things take a lot of time.
We gotta wait for an update.
Yeah. What? Yeah. I mean, we do listen though, and we listen a lot more than I think folks think. And to be honest, without a lot of their feedback, we wouldn't have built some amazing features that have come into the game. So,
I love it. It's just tough. I can't imagine being in that position to kind of say we have to listen to people, but at the same time we can't cater to every person out there and what they think a game should be or have or something like that. And it's not a position that I envy somebody to have, but it's also super important at the same time. So like you said, shout out to the unsung heroes of the community team.
I think
I'm sure they deserve it.
Yeah, like moving into live services, as you all know, like is so different from putting out box products, right? Like there used to be sort of, I think, an expectation of like, okay, like they launched a game, now we can provide feedback, and then they're going to like incorporate that feedback, whatever that looks like, build a new game, and then launch that game, right? So you have an expectation that like not everything is going to happen immediately, but like in this live service world, like everything does feel immediate and like, you should have what you asked for today, 5 minutes from now. And it just doesn't work that way, even though game development still takes just as long as game development has always taken. And in a lot of ways, I think it's a lot harder than it used to be. And it's just communicating that with the community and actually like getting that level of understanding and empathy, maybe. I don't know.
We hear you. We hear
Empathy
you.
from gamers? What?
I know.
Yeah.
All right, so Ryan and I had, because I really want to move on to talking about the Bungie Foundation here, but we have a question that already caused an argument between Ryan and myself before we started recording, and so we're going to ask you the question, and Jarrod, you might be a little bit more suited to answer this, but Christine, if you have an answer, I would love to hear it. What is the best vehicle in Halo? See the sigh already.
I love the sigh. That's how you know. That's how you know.
I mean, listen, I think it's got to be the Warthog. It's got to be the Warthog. Just because you could do so much with it. Like, you could be up on the turret. You could be shooting from the side. You could drive it. You could just not drive. You could just sit there in the car by yourself and just have it. Like, yeah, it's got to be the Warthog.
To be fair, I was also going to say the Warthog, not because I've actually played the Warthog, because I remember
wise,
it.
and you're smart,
So wise.
and you know.
Yeah.
And it's called a Warthog, and isn't that cute?
You know what they are? They're queuing up to reload because they're dead. Because I came through with a Banshee and smoked them all. That's what happened.
Ryan just wants to
just
fly
more
around.
fun.
The Warthog is
Yeah.
the right answer.
Yeah,
See, right,
whatever.
3 people.
That's just iconic,
all
is
have
all
the-
it is. Like, it's obviously iconic. It's amazing. Banshee's the superior vehicle, in my opinion.
But it's iconic for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, if you got a good Warthog driver and a gunner together,
That is true. A good combo is solid for sure.
All right, and not to put you both on the spot here, and Christine, I don't know how familiar you are with Destiny lore and stuff like that. I've played a little bit of Destiny, but not a whole lot, not nearly what Ryan and I feel like Jarrod has played. But Jarrod, can you explain what Vex Milk is?
I wish. So I actually just saw Todd Habercorn, aka Drifter, last weekend, and I would love him to answer this question for me. But I don't know. When I think of Vex Milk, this is what I think of. You know, you go to Disney World in the Star Wars Cantina, you have like the blue and the green, whatever, I forget they're called. That's what I think when I think of Vex Milk. That's what I think of. It's like some milky, clear, opaque substance that you are drinking. I know it's not right, but that's where my mind goes.
That sounds disgusting. I don't want to drink that.
Yeah, no.
I mean, if it's a bunch of radiolayered fluid, that means you'll just probably die if you drink it. So I'm thinking something better than that, right?
Vex Milk is the lifeblood of the Vex alien race. That's what Vex blood is. It is.
That feels right, doesn't it?
Yes,
Is it just
it
like,
is.
I don't know.
I don't.
Machines need like oil and grease
I
and
don't
stuff.
want to drink it. I don't want to
Yeah.
drink it, but I know what Vex Milk is, and I just shoot it and it explodes, and then I feel happy inside
Okay,
when
so
I see
That's
it.
what it
in the
is. Vex
future,
Milk
in the
is
future
joy, is
Destiny
Ryan's joy.
theme park, it's definitely happening. It's not happening for legal reasons.
Yeah.
Will they have
Rumors
will the
are
cantina be serving Vex Milk?
Oh my goodness.
It
Yeah.
better
No,
be
thank
by
you.
Kate 6, and he slings me a Vex Milk, and we're good to go.
And some spicy ramen and some Vex Milk?
I take
Oh.
the spicy ramen.
Now we're
Yeah.
There
talking.
you go. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, we got to be stupid occasionally, guys. All right. So with that, let's transition to talking a little bit about the Bungie Foundation, because this is amazing. Like, honestly, this is something that is incredible to us. I mean, it's very near and dear to our hearts. But Christine, you know, you have been with them, I mean, your entire career, basically, with the Bungie Foundation and Gaming for Good. You know, for the listeners, can you explain what it is that, like, the primary mission of the Bungie Foundation is?
Yeah, so our primary mission really is to empower our community to make the world a better place through supporting 3 core pillars that we have, which is supporting children's well-being, inclusion, diversity, and equity, and humanitarian aid. So what a lot of people, I think, don't really recognize is the Bungie Foundation is like 98% funded by the Bungie community. It's through our fundraisers. It's through like when we do in-game activations. It's the core of what we do, and it supports all of the work that we do. So so I mean, from a children's well-being perspective, we kind of have 2 core areas, but one really primary focus, which is the Little Lights program, formerly iPads for Kids, where we partner with children's hospitals all over the country to provide entertainment distraction for kids while they're going through some of the darkest days of their lives. So it's really intended to provide entertainment, distraction, therapeutic play, a sense of normalcy, just give them, something that brightens their day when they're really struggling. And as we all know, games is such a powerful tool for that. So any patient who comes into the hospital, they get an iPad. It's downloaded with a whole bunch of entertainment content that's age appropriate to their age, takes into account their cognitive abilities, their physical disabilities. It's worked in partnership with Children's Hospital's Child Life team and nursing staff to really make sure that every child gets the content that they can best utilize. And we're in 20 plus hospitals at this point, which is super exciting. We also have a really amazing partnership with Make-A-Wish, where we provide all their entertainment technology as well. So we do anything from converting somebody's basement into a DJ studio to, helping kids who want to be YouTubers one day set up their YouTube setups, like whatever it might be. Like if you can plug it in, turn it on, like we're the group that helps Make-A-Wish make those happen.
I love that. We just talked to Make-A-Wish. We actually had them on the show recently as well.
Cool.
And absolutely just love. We're very passionate about just giving back. And, if there's something oddly special about the gaming community, because we're a very divided bunch a lot of times. But if you can get gamers to come together, crazy things can happen,
and there's nothing more powerful than
I mean, legitimately, I don't think there is. It takes something to get them to all come together instead of just fighting and calling each other names. But
I think we figured it out pretty well, what motivates gamers to give back. We have a pretty good strategy there. Yeah.
It's literally you are the worst tank ever, but also, hey, let's go help this kid. It's they can just swing it through. So my son has been in the hospital, when he was younger for some things, and then my little sister as well, and Phoenix Children's here locally, and the stuff that all these different organizations do is just the outreach that they do is just awesome. What is the most powerful moment that you've seen from your time there with Bungie?
Oh gosh.
I know it's going to be hard.
There's so many moments. And honestly, some of the things that I think stand out for me most, I won't go into detail because a lot of them are actually really hard.
I can only imagine.
Really heartbreaking moments. But I think the ones that are most powerful that really stand out to me have been kids who maybe in the end didn't make it, right? And who in their last days and their last weeks and their last moments moved to games, moved to technology to bring those final moments of joy, to distract them from what they were going through, to distract them from the pain that they were maybe feeling. You all know, if you're in a game, you are hardcore focused, the world, just kind of disappears around you. And that's what we see, I think, at children's hospitals with Make-A-Wish kids all the time, is these really hard, painful moments that they're going through. When you immerse them in something that puts them in a different world and a different mentality, for just a little bit, the world gets to fade away a little bit, and they can just be kids. They can just have pure joy, pure fun, for however long that happens to be. And so hearing those stories, being, even in person with some of these stories with kids who just, one moment are just in really, really deep pain or just fear or anxiety, and then immersing them in something, a video game, an iPad, whatever it happens to be, and just seeing their eyes light up, their demeanor completely change. It's just really powerful. And that's where I think for me as a non-gamer, I still have so much passion for what games represent because I get to see these moments.
It's such a good escapism for so many people. I mean, everybody plays games for different motivations, whether it's competition or it's relaxation or escapism, and it's one of those things with our podcast, we don't get into politics. We keep it family friendly so that everybody can listen and things like that, because we understand that for a lot of people, they just want an hour to just not think about the hardships that are going on and stuff like that. And it's such a necessary thing to have for people, but it's getting harder and harder to find that for a lot of people as well, which is one reason that we love gaming, and we love the fact that the Bungie Foundation exists and that you have dedicated 17 years of your life to this, and Jarrod, left you after 3 years, but he dedicated 3 years to it. So I got to pick on you, Jarrod. I'm so sorry.
I think he's actually permanently tethered to the foundation. He can run as far as he can, but he's just going to bounce back in.
He's out. He's not out. He thinks he is.
Too, so. So, Christy, can you give us like what is the day in a life of being the director like? I mean, it's a title, but for a lot of gamers, like it's like, oh, cool, okay, you had that up, but like, can you give us like a brief synopsis of like what a day is like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely evolved over the years. Like when I started it in 2010, it was just me, right? Like I had 100% of everything that we did, and so it's kind of been like, okay, like we grow the organization, we have enough, or I physically can't handle enough of it anymore. Okay, I'm going to hire a new person, kind of take on like this like specific, role, project management, production, communications management, whatever. So my role has changed from just kind of like 100% hands-on in every single thing that we do to, being more in a management and strategic leadership role. So most of the time at this point, my day is a lot of meetings. It's a lot of meetings with my own team, supporting our team and all the efforts that they're doing, whether it's massive fundraising campaigns that take, months to plan and organize, whether it's, talking about different strategies for the programs that we run, like the Little Aids program, or things like that, just making sure that we're really looking at like what our long-term strategy is and how the various, activations and things that we're doing on a day-to-day basis are really moving the needle into where we want to go. It's a lot of like also working. We have a wonderful board of directors, primarily comprised of Bungie Inc. executives. So really working with them in terms of like what is that 5-year roadmap? Like where is it that we want to go? How do we want to represent ourselves as the charitable arm of Bungie? How do we kind of continue to be that cultural driver within the company? And how, like, what do we need to do to get there, right? Like, what's the funding mechanisms that we need to do to get there? Are we on track when it comes to, partnering with the Destiny community in the ways that we do? Do we need to think about different strategies? It's also a lot of like working directly with our partners. We have a lot of nonprofit partners that we work with, day in and day out, year over year. And so it's, figuring out how can we best show up for them, and how can we do that in a way that's in alignment with our mission and our values, ultimately so that we can make sure that all of those donor dollars that are coming to us are being put back out into the world in a way that's really going to make the world a better place.
That is awesome.
That's
she does a lot of work.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
Jarrod came on and he took a lot of work from me.
So much from her just to give her some normalcy in her life.
He started and I could finally go to sleep at night.
Breathe. There you go.
And now he's leaving and I'm not okay with it.
He's just left you to go help make games.
It's like, well, I'm going to go have some fun now.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh man, that is awesome. So like, I mean, as speaking of gamers, we're a fickle bunch. We're kind of all over the place. As we talked about getting together, I think overall the community is truly at its heart good. Like, and there can be an impact with that. Like, what can they do? Like, what is something that you would love to see gamers come together on, like something that we can all just unite on, because at the end of the day, we all get home from work or whatever we do, we want to log on, we want to be together, we want to get our time into this world. Like, what can we do together as gamers to have an impact on kind of your world as far as helping people?
I mean, I think we spend so much time trying to figure out how we build those moments for our, especially on the Destiny side, obviously, so we've put together, really amazing, compelling campaigns that we do twice a year, Game to Give and Bungie Day, where we're partnering with our content creators. We're creating in-game activations, creating really fun, meaningful ways where our community can give back, and they're also receiving something really cool out of it, like the gamification. I think we've done a really good job of gamifying fundraising that, really makes it a fun experience and something that people want to unite together on. So I always participating in those events, showing up, monthly when we do our Bungie Bounties for Good, it's an opportunity for us to not necessarily fundraise, but to create awareness around the organizations that we support, to find, different organizations that you personally might be passionate about. Like the Bungie Foundation is of course we always want you to, come and hang out with us and support us, but ultimately we want you to find the organizations that you feel connected to and passionate about, and if we can help educate and raise awareness on those different organizations so that you can go and support them directly, I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I think I would just love to see more engagement across the board. Mm-hmm. Destiny has however many hundreds of thousands of players, millions of players over its lifetime. But yet the amount that we see that engage with, our programs is percentage-wise very low, right? Just more engagement, and all it takes, we're not asking for money, right? We're just asking to share, right? The biggest thing that anybody can do is just share the word, because if you share that word and then that gets to someone who's like, that's a cause I really believe in, boom, then it snowballs from there. So just it's the simplest thing is just sharing. Use that loud social media platform of whatever of your choice for good, and share it with folks, or just offline, right? It doesn't always need to be on social media. It can just be talking about it in your Discords and chats and stuff like that. But I think I'd like to turn that a bit and put that the same question to more studios and developers. There's only 2 studios that really have a nonprofit, us and Call of Duty, with the Call of Duty endowment. That's really it. A couple other studios, they have some initiatives, and they do good work. I'm not saying they don't, but I would like the industry as a whole to think about doing good in the world. They have massive audiences. They have hundreds and hundreds of millions of people worldwide who play their games. And all they need to do is put a little bit of effort into putting one thing in their game to help spread good in whatever cause and area that they feel close to. That's totally fine. I use the example of the Mercy skin from Overwatch back in the day for the breast cancer.
Yep.
Right. I think that to this day is the most successful charity.
I was going to say
ever.
phenomenally successful.
$20 million in overnight, which is crazy. If they kept doing that, make it regular, right? Have all these other studios. I don't want to call anybody out by name, but they have the audience and the capability and the dev teams to do something like this. And it can be as simple as creating pixels in a game that then gamers don't even know. Honestly, if they don't even know that they're donating money, it's probably even cool. That's just a really cool thing. I want it. And then for them to know that, hey, that money went towards charity.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
What we found, I think, on our side, on the dev side, any of the in-game activations that we've done have never detracted from the profits that Destiny has made. It's only bolstered, the level of awareness in game, the level of excitement in game. So it's a net positive across the board. I think there can be this potential fear of because margins are already really thin in a lot of cases, right? And so, thinking about how, doing something in game that could potentially detract from, especially if you're MTX reliant or whatever it happens to be, will this thing detract from the money that we have to make to pay our employees, to innovate, to do whatever? And for us, at least, the answer has always been a resounding no. It's always only been a net positive. So I think overcoming some of that fear is a big piece of it, because I think there's sort of that expectation of you give something, you take something, but in this case, it really is
it comes
you
at
give
a
something
cost of some sort, when really there's more of a benefit than a cost there as well. So, it's funny because we talked about gamers coming together. I think from a gaming standpoint, recently, there was Helldivers 2, right? Every gamer in the world was saluting each other, and we were all coming together to defend this virtual planet and stuff like that. And it's guys, imagine if gamers came together to do something good for people, like the Bungie Foundation. If we can defend a virtual planet from insects, we can absolutely come together and just donate a few dollars, to something great like what you guys are doing. So to put our money where our mouth is in that regard, we wanted to announce that we are donating $5,000 to the Bungie Foundation.
It's amazing.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
This comes with a thank you to you guys for what you do. Honestly, it's like you said, Jarrod, we would love to see more of this in the gaming industry. And if gamers can come together to do stuff, then maybe studios can come together to work together as well. But Christine, the fact that you've dedicated so many years of your life to helping people out through the Bungie Foundation, and Jarrod, the fact that you have helped with that and made that such a large part of your life and continue to do so, even if we joke a little bit about you kind of getting into the production side, we know it's still a large part of your heart and what you're interested in as well. And so thank you for what you guys do, in that. And I'm glad that we can just give a little bit, and then hopefully that motivates other gamers to jump in there as well. So You know, it should not be taken lightly what you guys do, and that you dedicate your days to this, to helping other people. And so we wanted to just take a minute to say thank you for that, number one. Thank you for the dedication that you have to making the world a better place as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I would just say, just so you like know what that does, like how impactful that is, when we look at like our Make-A-Wish technology grants that we do, a $5,000 grant is like our average wish. So I want you guys to like think of that donation literally as granting.
You're gonna make me cry. I can't think about it.
Come on.
So truly, like, because of you, like, there's a kid out there who's gonna get their YouTube setup. Someone's gonna get their, you know, their DJ booth, their you know, custom gaming PC. Like, it really, every single dollar matters so much, and is the thing that changes people's lives. So. You guys are so great. Thank you so much.
You guys are great. No, you are.
No, you.
Like Spider-Man pointing at each other. All right, listen, we are running out of time very quickly here, but we wanted to just end things on a little bit of fun. Some quick fire questions for you guys before we wrap this episode up here. Okay. So, you know, these are going to be nonsensical, you guys, but here we go. So, if you could take one cool thing home from Bungie headquarters, what would it be?
I think so. We have what's the battle axe, the
Iron
banner battle axe, whatever it's called. We have like a 1-to-1 replica of the battle axe. That's like made out of like pure iron. It's like giant. It's like
it's
35, 40 pounds. I don't know. It's super heavy. Just like super ornate. Like, it looks exactly like it does in game, and it's like the real deal. Like, you could chop someone's head off with it. I wouldn't do that, but it's real cool.
That's awesome.
I think. So we have a life-size chief.
I was gonna say that was probably. I think I've seen that before.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is,
he's seen better days though.
He's a little dusty. He would scare the shit out of me if I saw it, like in a dark room in the middle of the night. I'm just like going through the fridge to get some like water and like whoa, like just like because he's about. It's about 7 foot tall.
How tall is he in game?
Someone knows. Someone definitely knows
like
this.
7'1" or something
he's
like that.
7 feet. Yeah.
So
he's between 7 and 8 feet tall, if I remember right.
Yeah.
He's life size.
Yeah.
But I think I would take, and we have also a full size sparrow.
Oh.
So I think I would just have a sparrow. That'd be like my like gaming chair. I'm just gaming on a sparrow. Yeah, I think that's what I would take. So it's massive.
I tried to 3D print a Thorn hand cannon, nice. And I got to like a third part and something messed up, and then I was like, "There's too much here. Like it's
too much."
We have a lot of weapon replicas around the studio too.
We have like a professional maker who's on staff.
I'm so jealous right now.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Come out, and we'll show you.
I just need to get the finance, and then somehow I'll just end up, over there in the game department. That's all I need to do.
That's how it works.
It's a proven career track.
I was gonna say, proof of concept is there. So. Yeah. All right, so odd question. You guys are a AAA studio. What's the parking situation like at Bungie?
It's pretty okay.
I think it's okay. We have a garage underneath us. It like recognizes your license plate. So
days.
That's true. It does
not every day.
You have your badge just in case it doesn't work. I did get stuck once.
Yeah,
but,
some days. But so we're in what used to be an old kind of like outdoor shopping center movie theater, and then we used to share this in a gym, but now it's all ours. So like parking in the garage it's pretty chill. It's largely for us now. It used to be you have to share it with retail, but now it's largely for us. So.
Yeah. There was a minute where it got real rough.
So no like half-mile hikes to get in or anything like that.
No. You can kind of see the Bellevue. Everything like with all the buildings in Bellevue, you have to provide like X amount of parking spaces these days underground with all these towers going up. Blame Amazon.
Yes. I feel like we like need to create a juicy story. That sounds so
horrible. It's awful. I had a park. I got towed once, and then I had to go to the bus, to the train, to the boat to get my car.
No, but the truth is, like they've actually made it really easy for us. Like we drive our car, and you can register your license plate. Like you don't have to I don't know.
Do all that
stuff. You don't have to pay for parking to go
No
work.
pay for parking. No.
Yeah, no. And I mean, Bungie, if you don't have a car, Bungie will, cover we have bus and rail.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
The rail will open one day.
Yeah. We have the bus pass or like Sound Transit.
Yeah.
We also like have a really cool like Go Green initiative. Like if you walk, carpool, or ride your bike, I think to work, you get like
something, yeah,
a gift card or I don't know. Like there's like incentivization to like not take your car if you don't want to.
Green, but
I take my car. I know. Lazy.
Well, to get into the juicy side of it, here's the big one. Who would win in a fight, Master Chief or Doom Guy?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who Doom Guy is, so I'm gonna say Master Chief.
I love it.
I mean, listen, Doom Guy's literally gone through hell.
Yeah, literally.
But it's Chief is Chief, right? Like no one's gonna beat Chief. Chief has saved the world how many times?
Space and killed space aliens.
Yeah, I mean, he's at another level. Doom Guy, yeah, he it's Chief. It's
Chiefs, that's a good answer. We'll take it.
That's right. There's no wrong answer on this one.
Exactly, yeah, there's no wrong answer.
Well, listen, guys, we want to just thank you again for your time on this. This has been incredible to just get to talk to the both of you, to hang out with you guys, to, just learn more about Bungie, the Bungie Foundation, just gaming, have some laughs, some fun. I mean, this has really been a joy for us. We just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to chat and just have a good time together.
Yeah.
This has been great. So thank you both for everything that you do for the gaming world. I mean, honestly, it's really, truly incredible. So it's been an honor for us to have you both on. And so from us and all of our listeners, a very hearty and humble thank you to both of you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And thank you to you guys.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. So,
thank you for the generosity.
Yeah.
No,
it'll go to a good cause, I promise.
That's really good. So, all right. Well, listen, that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Jarrod, Christine, thank you so much for hopping on here and talking with us all about all things Bungie, the Bungie Foundation. This has been an absolute joy. That's going to do it for this episode, everybody. Until next time, happy gaming.
See ya.
Take care.